All right, so today on the bench, we've got this Yamaha CX5M MSX computer. This is one of those Yamahas that you can use to actually make music. It outputs, it's on the other side, it has a MIDI module inside and connectors for a keyboard as well. This was featured, if you remember and if you followed the channel, on Neil's RMC The Cave, who did a video on those computers, and I ended up having fun with that video.
The Yamaha, filthy.
But more importantly, this is the very computer that was on that video. He actually sent it to me afterwards. That was a really cool thing to do. Thank you very much, Neil, for this. And here it sat until, well, I finally now have the time to look into it. And so first I want to clean it, because one could describe it as filthy. And the other thing, I wanted to first make sure it works. We're going to upgrade the power, the MIDI module, sorry, to a better version. This is a whatever it's called, but 1. And the 5 has more MIDI options where you can actually control external stuff with it. And I think MIDI in work as well for controlling the synth. But the first version, I think you could only sys-x patches back and forth between this and something like the X7. The other thing is the power is 13 pin DIN, which you can still find, but the power brick itself is rare and quite expensive. So I found out that you can use a ZX Spectrum 3 plus power supply, and it outputs 5 volt. This is ground, I think. Black is -12, and this is +12. This is sort of what you'd expect from a lot of audio stuff. Same power as a Eurorack, in fact, and these take the same voltages, but here it's handy, it's in this one block. It's rated for more amps as well than the original power supplies. What I have is one of those guys, so we're gonna make an adapter for that. So quite a bit to do. First, I want to open this. The reason I'm opening it is I want to check that there's no obvious damage inside, and it makes things easier. I want to trace exactly what the output is. I have found the output or the pinout, sorry, on the internet, but I'm not entirely sure. I always get confused as to which way is facing which with this thing. So I just want to make sure that. Okay. This opens that way. There's a little trick here, because essentially this part comes off on its own. This is the keyboard. Oh, it's super fragile, and I don't entirely trust these guys. I need to take that out anyway. I want to clean the keys and all that. There's a connector right here, and the second lead is going under this, probably all the way. So come off easy. There you go. Okay, there's no visible here really. There's no visible sign of anything, corrosion or anything like that. But this is the part that I just want to check. So this board should come off then. There you go. Yeah, this is what I wanted to check. So we got a mapping here, and I wanted to see, are these internally connected or should they be connected? Some of them are connected together. So here should be our 5 volt rail. This should be our ground rail here, +5 and -5, and this should be the switch on your power supply to switch it on. So we might need to bridge that. Where does this go? There goes my, yeah, so we just need to bridge that permanently. Yeah, these are all connected, so I don't need to wire every single pin on that connector. So that's good news. and we'll do just that. Alright, you want to do it?
This video is sponsored.
That's not what. This video is sponsored by
Yeah.
PCBWay. This video is sponsored by PCBWay.
Yeah.
They offer PCB manufacturing along with part assembly.
Yeah.
But they also offer a number of fantastic services like CNC, metal sheet fabrication, 3D printing, and even injection molding, turning it into a one-stop shop for all your projects.
Yeah, you did very well.
So go to PCBWay.com, upload your project files, and get an instant quote. And thank you to them for sponsoring.
This video is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay.
Let me say, there is nothing fun about soldering DIN connectors. And last, and this is going to be a problem, I should have done this before. Alright, I think we're good. I'm just going to strength test it, because the last thing we want to happen is them going loose while it's plugged in and then shorting. So the other thing I want to do is check that this isn't creating shorts anywhere. Okay, that's connected. The one last thing is I need to short these two pins here and here. Here and here, just to make sure. These are the switch pins on the original power supply. So the computer will not work until these two pins are shorted. Did I mention how much I hate working on DIN connectors? They're just horrible, horrible yokes. I'm going to burn my fingers here, but it's for a good cause. Right, and essentially now we should have this pin, and this pin shorted. Yeah, there you go. I just want to check colors. We've got red, that should be 5 volt here. Yeah, it's not shorted to anything. Okay, we got black, I'm guessing is ground. This rail here, yeah. We haven't shorted it to anything else. No, there you go. Cool. All right, so we're done with this 13-pin connector. Putting this back in was a bit of a struggle. Did I mention I hate DIN connectors? I hate DIN connectors. And I tested it here right on the board. We get +5 here, the ground is here, +12 and -12 here. So everything is working as it should. I'm going to put this back together. All right, so I just got this just simply put together. I don't even have the shield or anything like that. It's not screwed in. I have power in, audio, and RCA video in, and can switch this on here. And I have my screen here set to... Yes, there you go. Cool. Cool, it boots to basic. There's a lot of stuff we need to check. Sound, I'm going to try cart here, game cart, see if guy gets sound as well. And then we're going to have to clean all this and test maybe the MIDI stuff, or at least mod the MIDI module. So I have a Parodius here in. It's at least booting. I might need... Yeah! Keyboard is working. Right, next step is I just want to quickly check that one of those cards is working. You need the MIDI module in there, so I've put that back in for now. And let's just hopefully it boots. Yes, there you go. Right, I feel like I need to do it, because if I don't do it here, somebody will comment that I didn't do it. So let's plug the keyboard here. This is an original YK Yamaha 20. It plugs here on the side. It's a proprietary connection, so it only works on these, and I think not Panasonic, but some other Yamaha MSX music computer. But the MIDI card also has an onboard program, and you call it by going to basic and typing call music, and there you go. It just loads the program. You can see the poly voice here. You can select different presets. I believe you can edit your voices as well, and I haven't really looked into navigation here or how to move from one to the other. Okay. So it's the function keys here allow you to move menu, jump menu like that, mono, balance. Okay, I suppose we don't need to worry too much about that. So right now it should make a noise as soon as I press. Cool. How much polyphony do we have on this? I'm not sure actually. I haven't really looked at the specs. Anyway, FM module is working, keyboard is working, software is working. So let's tackle this filth. Alright, so that's our keyboard cleaned, put back together. There is, for the buttons themselves, there's actually a way to put them down. So there's a little notch, and the notch has to be pointing down. Otherwise, the keys will be facing sort of the wrong way. And yeah, it's rather an easy procedure. Next, we're gonna just put everything back together, but it looks so much cleaner already and nice and shiny. And now I don't feel bad putting my hands on it. I don't need to fear any sort of germs. So anyway, next we're going to tackle this guy, which is the synthesizer cartridge that slots on this side here, and you can see all the connectors for the keyboard, the MIDI, the audio. And this is essentially just a cartridge. There's a ROM in there, and what we can do, so there was two versions of this, and this one doesn't take MIDI in and out as an instrument control. It takes MIDI, it uses MIDI and in and out to send MIDI CX patches to your Yamaha synthesizer back and forth from the computer, but not to actually control a device or get the device to control this. That was changed in a ROM update in the version 5 of this card. Changing it is a simple mod, a couple of jumpers, ROM change, and we should be all good. So I'm gonna do that next, and I think we'll be done with this restoration. There's 4 screws here. The big screw here is to secure it to the MSX machine, and those 4 little screws here is to lift the plate here. So I'm going to take these apart and we'll have a look at what's inside. And there you go. All right, can put this away for now. So this is our EEPROM here. So first job is to remove it. Just looking at it, it might just be easier to cut it out altogether. And there you go. So I replaced the EEPROM that was here with, first I put a socket. There's enough clearance in the box to allow for that anyway. And put the SFG5 ROM on that instead of the SFG01. And there's only one thing to do. So this is normally it's a 16K ROM. Here it's a 32K ROM. So what we need to do is lift pin 27 here and connect that to pin 35 of the this connector. The only issue is pin 35 is right there. It's this guy. You can actually see it's marked 35, but it's inside, so accessing that is a bit tricky from the top. Some people move those two here. I don't recommend that because that's, you know, recipe for breaking it. So you can find on the board itself a lot of those little vias that are empty. You can even empty the or remove the solder here if you want. So I found one here that was nearby and connected that from the underneath. You need a very thin wire, and that's really all there is. Just new EEPROM and make that little connection. You don't need to cut anything as far as I know, and you don't need to destroy anything. And if you want to replace that and switch it back to SFG01, you just burn the an EEPROM. So this is a 27256, and if you want to put an 01, put in a 27 128, and you'll be sorted. But you know why? This is better. So this should allow me to get MIDI in and out from a controller and into a MIDI synth as well. So control the synth from this. Probably not what you want to do, but it'd be cool to be able to control this chip from an external controller, like a computer or like a keyboard. Anyway, we'll put this back together and test it. All right, let's plug this in. At least it's booting to basic. Call music with one finger. And if, yeah, there you go. This is the new, whatever it's called, program that's in that EEPROM, and that's working fine. So that's great. I just want now to plug something on the MIDI in and see if I can get any sound of this thing. All right, so I have the DX21 here plugged in, MIDI out into MIDI in of the CX5M. It's booted up and so there you go. That's MIDI in working. I don't really care about testing MIDI out this stage. I should have said the SFG05 ROM that you need to put in this is not the straight SFG05. It's actually a modified ROM to work with the SFG01 module, so to speak. The difference is that they use slightly different chips, and the SFG01 uses the same as this guy, but the other one for the SFG05 is technically compatible, backwards compatible, but it needs a couple of register changes that were done. So those changes were done in the modified ROM. So you'll find that online. If not, I'll put in the video description exactly what bytes need to be changed and where, but you need an X editor and that kind of stuff. If not, you can find them for, you know, cheap on eBay if you don't want to bother with any of that. I wanted to do it myself because it's what this is all about. But there you go. Again, thank you to Neil from RMC for sending me this in the first place.
Sex machines, sex machines.
Kind of slightly ashamed that it took me that long to address it, but here it is now working and upgraded, and I might actually end up using it for some of my synth cover and synth work, because it is a nice 4 operator. It's the same IC as this guy, which is a 4 operator. I think this is a good pairing with the DX21. Essentially, I've another DX21 or the DX100 or whatever you want to call it, but it's another synthesizer anyway. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting, and stay tuned for, well, more videos, hopefully soon. Bye.
When you think of an 80s computer geared towards sex machines, I've got to show you today out of the box. Yamaha. I'll be honest, I've got the musical capabilities of a banana. Promise not to laugh at me. Sex machines, I know that I've got some that work. The others need a really good clean. I made an extra video for this on my second channel, but I do know it works. Sex machines, they're Yamaha. Sex machines, no matter. First thing we need to know about these sex machines, sex machines, sex machines, that's what we need to know. Sex sex machines, sex machines, they're Yamaha, filthy. However, back to the good stuff. First difference that we see is when we flip it over and I got hold of this. This will get a clean up, so attractive. I'd be pretty happy with that. Sex machines, Microsoft wanted the same, but of course, this is probably the one that you want to have. We've got that FM synth, because that's more than enough for me. Sex machines. The first thing we need to know about these. Sex machines, that's what we need to know. Sex machines, they're Yamaha, filthy. And perhaps make this the centerpiece of their studio. The first thing we need to know about these. Sex machines, that's what we need to know. Sex machines, they're Yamaha, filthy. Sex machines, everything did come together in the end.